Good morning, student. Hope the part 1 of the chapter 4 of history is clear to you. Now today we will start with part 2. But before starting the part 2, let me have a small recap of part 1, what we have studied in the previous class. In the previous class we have studied about the Birsa Munda, the person whom the people said that he have lot of power and he can cure all the disease and even he can multiply the grain. And Birsa Munda himself declared that God had appointed him to save his people from the trouble. Soon thousand people following the Birsa Munda and believing that he was a god, and he had come to solve the problem of the people. Likewise, we have studied about the Birsa Munda, how the people believe in. Then we have studied about the Jhum cultivation, like what is that actually in that we have a in that they have the shifting cultivation. This was done on the small patch of land and they keep on shifting, and when they cultivate one place then they move on the other place because they think when if they cultivate on the same place again and again, the fertility of the soil will decrease. And then we have studied about the hunter and the gatherers. Have you read in the class 6 also? Hunter, they hunt animals, and the gatherer, they gather the food from the forest. So this we have studied in the part 1. And now we will study the part 2. Let's start. So in part 2 we will study some took to settle cultivation even before the 19th century. So in the 19th century, what they have, some took to the settled cultivation, means they have settled, and many from within the tribal had begun settling down and cultivating their field. As they want to settle, so they started cultivating their field in one place year after year instead of moving from place to place. Means they don't want to move from place to place, they want to settle. So for settling, they started the cultivation. They began to use plow and gradually got right over the land they lived on, and they also get the right where they are land they are living on. In many cases like Mundas of Chota Nagpur, the land belonged to the Klana as a whole. All the members of Klana were regarded as a descendant of the original settler who had first cleared the land. Therefore, all of them had a right. As they have cleared the land, so they have the right. All of them have the right on the land. Very often, some people within the clan acquired more power than other. Some became chief and other followers. Powerful men often rented out their land, means they give their land for the cultivation to the other people, those who are powerful. Again, I am telling you, they started the settled cultivation, means they stopped moving from one place to another place, and gradually they started deploying the field and they got the right on the land they lived on. And we all the members of clan were regarded as a descendant of the original settler who had first cleared the land. So therefore they have the right of land. Very often some people within the clan required more power. Some people have more power, so they become the chief, and other followers, means the people they followed them. Next is, how did the colonial rule affect the tribal lives? Like when the British control over the people, what effect on the tribal people? How they are affected by this rule and how by the control of the Britishers. So let me explain you. The life of tribal people changed during the British rule. So now you are thinking how they are changed, because when you are under the control of any person, you don't feel good. Similarly, as they were under the control of British rule, previously they were living very happily and freely. But now some rules and regulations are put by the Britishers on the people. So what are the rules? Let we study. Let us see what these changes were. What actually changed? How their life had changed? What happened to the tribal chief? Before arrival of the British rule, in many areas of tribal chiefs were important people. I like chiefs were they are very important before the Britishers were there, and they enjoyed their economic power and they have right of administration also. But when the Britishers have control, their right were they don't have so much of right. Under the British control, the function and power of tribal chief changed considerably. They allowed to keep their land titles over a cluster of the villages and rent out the land, but they lost much of the, though they have power like the rent out their land, but they lost much of their administrative power, and they were forced to follow the rule of the British official in the India. They also had to pay the tribute to the Britishers, means they have to offer something to the Britishers. uh, and the discipline the tribal group on behalf of British, they lost their authority. See, now they don't have so much of administrative power, though they have some land titles, they can rent out their land, but then also there are many rights and their many administrative power were taken away by the Britishers. Now they have to follow what the Britishers they were saying at that time. They lost the authority they had earlier enjoyed amongst their people and were unable to fulfill their traditional function. So now they are not able to they were not able to fulfill their traditional function. So the British also wanted a regular revenue. See, when they control, they want the regular revenue. For that, they introduced land settlement. What is actually land settlement? We have read in the other chapter, chapter 2 also. That is, they measured the land, define the right of each individual of that land, and fix a revenue demand for the state. Some peasants were declared landowner, other are the tenants. As you have seen, the tenants will have to pay the rent to the landowner, who in turn pay the revenue to the state. See, they are collecting the revenue from the people, and then that revenue they have to pay to the Britishers. So the British effort to settle the Juma cultivator was not very successful. Settle plough cultivation is not easy in areas. Why it is not easy in areas where water is scarce and soil is dry? In fact, the Juma cultivators who took to the plough cultivation often suffered, since their field did not produce good yield. When the yield is not good, they are not able to pay the tax also. So these are the crises. So the Juma cultivators in the northeast India insist on continuing with their traditional practice, facing widespread protests. The British had to ultimately allow them to right to carry on shifting cultivation in some parts of the forest. So now the things were changing as the yield was not good. When their cultivation, the crop is not good. So ultimately the Britishers, they have to give and they have to allow them to do the shifting cultivation. I have told you what is actually shifting cultivation. On small patches they are doing the cultivation, then after that they are moving to the other patch, because they know the fertility of the soil will reduce if they keep on cultivating on one place. I hope so it is clear to you. So the forest law and their impact, the life of tribal group, as you know, as you have seen, was directly connected to the forest. As you know, the tribal group people, what they do, they collect the food from the forest, even they collect the branches, and they have many things are collecting from the forest. So the change in the forest law had a considerable effect on the tribal lives. The British extend their control over all the forest and declare that forests were the state property. Now they are not able to take the things from the forest, as a forest is a property of the state. Some forests were classified as reserve forest for their produced timber, which is British wanted. Whatever the British wanted, they make the rules according to their how the profit they are earning. They are making rule accordingly. So in these forests, people were not allowed to move freely, practice Juma cultivation, collect fruits or hunt animals. So they are not allowed to collect the fruits, they are not allowed to hunt the animals. However, the Juma cultivators, to survive in such a situation, many were therefore forced to move to other area in search of food and livelihood. So see how the struggle was there when the Britishers came to the India. This is the struggle of only the tribal people, how they are facing so many problems as the British introduced their law. Many of the chief tribals, they lost their administrative power, as the Britishers imposes their own law and rules and regulation. So living inside the forest, they faced a problem. From where would the forest department get its labor to cut the trees for the railway sleeper and to transport log? So the colonial official come up with a solution. They decided that they would give Joma cultivators small patch of land in the forest. So now they decided to give a small patch of land in the forest and allow to cultivate these on the condition that those who lived in the village would have to provide labor to the forest department and look after the forest. Means they have to do the labor also, and they have to look after the forest also. So in so many regions, the forest department established a forest village to ensure a regular supply of cheap labor, because when they are living there, they can easily provide the cheap labor. So that was the condition. The many tribal group reacted against the colonial forest rule. They disobeyed the new rules, continued with the practice that were declared illegal, and at the time rose in the opening rebellion. So they started going against that. Such was the revolt of the Somagram Sangam in 1906 in Assam, and the forest satyagraha of the 1930s in Central Provision. So you can underline this also. So the problem with the trade during the 19th century, tribal group found that trader and the moneylender were coming into the forest. Now who were coming to the forest? The trader and the moneylender. More often wanting to buy forest produce, offering cash loan and asking them to work for wage. Now what they are doing? They were wanting to buy forest produce and offering them the loan and asking them to work for the wages. It took tribal group sometimes to understand the consequences of what was happening. Let us consider the case of silk growers. In 18th century, the Indian silk was demanded in European market. The fine quality of Indian silk was highly valued and exported. Again, I am telling you what is export. When we send goods to the other country, increased rapidly. Why the export increased rapidly? Because the fine quality of Indian silk was highly valued and exported to the other country. So as the market expanded, the East India Company official offered to encourage silk production to meet the growing demand. So when there is demand, obviously we will produce more. So more demand was there, so they want more silk production should be there. So that is what actually happening in the again I am telling you, in the 18th century, Indian silk was in demand in the European market, and the fine quality of the Indian silk was highly valued. Only they have a lot of value is there. So the export from India increased rapidly. As the market expanded, the East India Company official tried to encourage silk production to meet the growing demand. I hope so the chapter is clear to you. Go through the chapter again, read it thoroughly and underline all the important terms. Thank you. Have a nice day.